Hey there, I am Scott. I am the CCO, the Chief Creative Officer and founder of IAIAM. IA stands for Independent Artist. Every single week we go live inside of our community, and what you're watching right here is a recording of one of those lives. If you'd ever like to be a part of one of these and sit in and be a part of the comments or be interviewed, and you're an IA, well, the link is right here in the description. Maybe we'll see you inside. Hey, hey, hey. We are going live with our Legends episode number 4. And what's really incredible about Legends is, well, I have a co-host, John McBride, and I can see that John is already here. I'm going to welcome John in, and tonight we are going to be interviewing Daniel Maffett. Daniel's already done a part 1, he's already done a part 2, and now we're into Legends. So, hey, John, I'm going to invite you in really quick, and then Daniel, you just hang tight, and we're going to get you right in here too. Very excited about this. So, John, I've invited you in. Here we go. There he is.
I'm here.
Yeah.
We're
So,
excited.
so what do you think about interviewing Daniel? He gave a great part 1 and a part 2, and I think it's going to be pretty epic. I mean, here's a guy that is flying out west. You know, I touched point on this in a post that I made earlier in a comment section. You know, Daniel flies out to Vegas once a month to work in this destination shop, and none of us are the only people that do what we do. So there's got to be something really special with the person that works with Daniel that says, hey, I want you to be out here. So Daniel has these qualities. Some are self-taught, some are learned along the way, and I'm just thinking he must have some serious epic legends that fanned his to turn him into this guy. So are you ready to throw him in the hot seat? You got anything you want to say before we do this, before I bring him in?
No, let's do it. Let's get him in here. Put him in the hot seat.
All right. Hey, Daniel, I hope you're ready to be a ping pong net. Here we go. I'm inviting you in now. I see we got John Ruiz here in the comments too.
Hey,
oh, yeah.
John
says hot seat. So, Daniel, we've got you invited in. Hopefully you can get in here without any problem. You've been invited. I got my water here.
No beer yet. I'm not ready for that.
Not yet. That's
No.
all good. Hey, Daniel. Dan Roth is here too. All right, here's Daniel.
Hey, Daniel.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, we're doing good. Doing good. So glad you're here. This is a totally different kind of. Yeah, can you hear us okay?
Yeah. Can you hear
Yep.
us?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a totally different jam, man, because this is where you're gonna spill the beans on all the people that taught you everything or believed in you, all of that stuff about legends, right?
Yeah.
And this was actually John McBride's idea some time ago that was inspired during another interview. And one day I'll get to the point where I don't have to talk about that anymore. But it's really cool because we talk about agency and ownership, and somebody teaches each of us all of those things, right?
Yeah.
So hey, I'm gonna let John kick this off. I want John to get going on it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you were in any of the other Legend series, but the idea, came to where I started thinking about, who are the people that influenced me as far as being a designer, helped me in my creative path, forward from. It could go back as far as when you were a kid or a teenager, high school, college, professionally. And, I thought of it in 2 ways because, you have I call them kind of like the superheroes or the celebrities. Kind of like, for me, it was like Chip Foose. There was, what's his last name? My brain just went. Dave Howells. He was a GM designer back in the day. 59 caddy guy, the big fins. He was that guy, and I got to meet him. But those are the kind of like the celebrity. I call them kind of like celebrity or the heavy hitters that really influenced me. And maybe you didn't even meet the guy, but or it could be an email but then there's people, and they're just as important. There are those that are kind of like the Bruce Willis style. They're the regular guy, right? But they can pull off extraordinary things with, regular, ordinary, regular day positions, like, not that it's ordinary, but, they're not on TV, they're not celebrities, but they're very important, like instructors, people that might have been your manager or a coworker or another student. They're kind of the Bruce Willis versus the Superman difference. I'm partial to the Bruce Willis style heroes because I think I can relate to them a little bit better.
Yeah.
I like the regular guy. So, that's kind of where the idea came from. And we came up with this, Scott. This came off of a humble pie discussion you were having with Dan.
Yeah, Dan Zimmerman. We were interviewing him, and he brought out some old Chrysler catalogs, and he was talking about design books, hardcover books, talking about studio artists from back in the day that would just work on all these advertisements and such. But there was a magic about it because we all got inspired somewhere along the way. Like my grandfather is one of my legends, and you might have one like that too. But we would love to hear you speak to it, and because you must have been that kid that somebody is like either said get away or get over here, So.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people along the way that just either steer your ship or help row the ship. They either
like that
block you in one way and send you on a different path, or they help you get to the next spot. So like if they close a door on you, obviously they're steering the ship that way. So you just go with it. So I think my dad was probably like my biggest influence growing up because my dad built hot rods before I was born. In South Carolina, he just built hot rods and motorcycles. He built the fastest car on James Island in South Carolina.
Wow.
Then the industry kind of started tanking in the early 80s, and he moved to Delaware because the steel industry was really big in Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
None of his kids liked cars or hot rods or any of that. And then I came along in 88, and from early on, everything car related I just loved. Like if it was on TV and there was a car, I was just watching it. I was glued to it. And every weekend my dad and I would watch Power Nation every Saturday. That's what we'd go to the farmer's market, get food, come back and just watch Power Nation. Like our whole our whole weekend with Stacey David and all those guys. So it was a full circle moment for me. Fast forward to being on Power Nation with a Camaro that we did, and watching the show with my dad, seeing me on it. That was like a huge full circle moment for me.
Awesome.
But he was always the dad that, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but we never did without, because he just found a way.
Yeah.
We didn't buy anything. If we needed something that he couldn't make with his hands, we didn't get it. So he made our tables in the house. He made our furniture. He wasn't a furniture maker by any means, but he just would learn how to do it because it needed to get done. When we needed a deck on the house, he learned how to make a deck and put a deck on the house. So growing up, I watched him do these things with his hands and complete this sorcery out of necessity. And it's just one of those things that I saw early on, like, you don't have to swipe that card and buy something. You could make something.
The joy of ownership, the joy of the journey, the joy of pride in your work.
Yeah.
All those, right.
Wow.
And that's, we didn't need the newest car. We didn't need it. My dad would buy something that someone gave up on, and he would make it the most dependable vehicle ever that my mom could go to work, take the kids to school. Like, it was just one of those things that from an early on, I watched him do these things, and I'm like, oh, wait. And then I'd be at other people's places, and my friends' dads are waiting on a handyman to show up and have to pay someone. And I'm like, wait, you don't know how to do that? Like, that's not a normal thing.
You don't know how to put in that bay window? Come on, give me a chance.
He's like the OG built, not bought.
And then I was always into like art. Like I was always drawing and doodling. I didn't really know what it was. I was just doing it and sketching, and I'd have these ideas and I'd make them out of Play-Doh or clay, and I'd always be doing something with my hands. And I remember my brother had a assignment, and he was in middle school, I was in elementary school, and my brother had this assignment where he had to make a poster. And the men in my family tend to procrastinate. So it's like
because I know.
It's like the night before the assignment's due, and my brother needs to have this drawing on this poster of a deer with these antlers, and it's from a cover of a book. It's some kind of thing. So my dad is there and just pissed that my brother missed this, was going to miss this deadline. So we went to the store. My dad, it was like Happy Harry's at the time, local chain. We go there, and my dad buys some cheap pencils, some poster board, and some markers, and we sit down, and I'm watching him, and he looks at the cover of this book with this stag on it, and he just hand draws a beautiful rendition of this deer from this book to this piece of paper. And I'm like, wait, what? That's humans can do this? Like,
yeah.
Like,
and then he pulls out a refurbished airbrush out of his back pocket, rolling through it because he doesn't have.
I'm just like, that was one of the first times I like really connected with my dad, because he was, my dad's a very hard man. He grew up in an era where men were men and they did men things, and relating to children was not one of them. They just, the kids were seen but not heard. They're over there. Like, my dad was always a great dad, but like until I was able to make those kind of connections with him from the art side of things, it was kind of like, that's when we started kind of like bonding a little more, because I tuned into that creative side of him that he never really showed too much because it didn't make money.
Gotcha.
I'm the youngest 8, so.
You ever working on a car on a tough day, and you're like, "There's no crying in car building."
Yeah. If I can hold a flashlight like nobody, just. So that was the first time like I really saw someone just manifest an idea out onto paper.
Sure.
And then I started really toying with the idea of, okay, well, I like Bugs Bunny, so if I can draw Bugs Bunny on this piece of paper, like I'm like my dad. That pushed me really forward into that, and I just dove into the creative mindset like really early on because of that. And that was always something my dad and I could connect with, because like all my other brothers were into sports, all my other brothers were into all of those kind of things that my dad, it was easy to bond. Let me talk sports, you're bonding. With me, it was like there was a wall. And then once we found out we were both creative, it was like, oh, there it is.
And then you turned into a builder, maker, doer.
Yeah. And then I turned into that. And I remember I impressed my dad one year, and I was in high school still. Being the youngest of 8, we have a huge family, so like Thanksgiving is an ordeal. And we were out of dinner table room, so we were trying to figure out how to fit people in this space without taking up too much walkway. So I drew out to scale with a scale ruler the table in the kitchen, and then I designed like this tapered 45-degree taper end extension that we could make as like a leaf at the end of the table, and mount it on top of an existing folding table just to fit more people. And I remember I drew it out, showed it to my dad, and he was like, well, boy, I think you're onto something. Like, that just like, that was almost a compliment. I will take it.
Awesome. Hey, real quick, do you think maybe that might have ignited a little bit of a fire of how to, I mean, if finding a way to connect with people, but that might even be difficult to connect with, like, because you probably like, hey, how do I connect with my dad? And then it starts teaching you how to learn how to connect.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's about finding common ground.
Yeah.
Yes. I pride myself on being able to hold a conversation with anyone. And it's because I come into every conversation as a student. The minute you think you know everything about something is when you will realize you know nothing.
No.
And I think going into a conversation with a student and a child mentality is the best way to grow.
100%.
And, you know, being around my dad from a younger age, it's like, he's not going to show his cards. You kind of have to ask questions and pull at the threads. And, you know, but once you do, it's like with a lot of people in the automotive industry, a lot of people in the creative industry, there's still a lot of people shielding their cards. You know, they feel like there's trade secrets. If they help someone else, it's gonna hurt their progress. You know?
Gatekeeper.
Yeah, the gatekeeping mentality. You know? And it's so it's corrosive. You know, it's a lot of weight to bear on your own shoulders to gatekeep all these people from your world. You know.
Yeah. Everybody can win. I really think that everybody can win. I don't know.
Yeah, and winning is variable.
Yeah.
Just because someone got this big paying job doesn't mean that's the only way to win. Mm-hmm. You know, winning could be finishing a project that's been on your plate for too long. You know, winning could be finally figuring out how to achieve, you know, the idea you had in your head for 6 months, you know.
Yeah.
It's a variable sliding scale.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, when you're talking about that, what is your idea of winning, right? And that's a pretty abstract thing. It's kind of like trying to teach a little kid love. Like, you know what the word is, but how do you really unpack what it is?
Yeah.
So winning means a bunch of different things, and it really depends on what season you're in to what you quantify as what winning is. I'm not going to get all like deep on it, but you know, right now, I feel like I'm winning. Like, here we are, all of us, and the people in the watching. Like, this is winning right now, and grateful for it. You know, like that. Like when you talk about having the right posture, and it's about the willingness to show up, and whether there's 8 people, or there's 1, or there's 10,000, you show up, right?
Yeah.
That's good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, I teach at Wilmington University a couple times a year, and it's usually creative students. It's usually video editing or motion graphics or something like this, and I always push them because they don't want to. They're afraid of the start.
Yeah.
And I always tell them that done is better than perfect. Get the ball moving, figure it out. Worst case is you abandon a project and you move to the next project. Then you have that experience from that first project of what not to do. And, you know, one of my old teachers always said, you know, good art is never finished. It's just abandoned. Like, you never finish art. You abandon it and you move to the next thing.
That used to happen to me a lot. Before I even got in it, when I was much younger, I did a lot of comic book art, self-taught, anatomy. I'd get like 8, 9 comic book pages inked in, and then I come out with another idea for, okay, I'm done with this one. I'm not gonna call. I'm on to the new thing. And, you know, I just couldn't stay focused. Too many ideas.
Yeah.
So.
It's loud up there between the ears for every creative. So, like, Daniel, when you were in school, I don't know, you started drawing, and that was your bond point. So, like, what age were you when you really started accelerating in this particular thing where, like, I've drawn for as long as I can remember, but it wasn't until I got to a certain spot where it's like, okay, you're definitely doing something beyond your age. So, like, did you have a teacher that's like, were you just self-taught and there was no one that ever taught you this? But what happened along the way? Like, as you were in school, were you in a VOTAC? Were you in any type of a trade in high school?
No,
or you had an instructor or art school?
Yeah, I went to just regular public school. Middletown, where I grew up, was pretty small. So, I mean, it's huge now, but it was pretty small. So, you know, we had Cedar Lane Elementary, Middletown Middle, and Middletown High. So we had very creative names, and you know, that was the only 3 schools in the district. And I fortunately had an art teacher, Miss Riblet, that was my same art teacher through all 3, because she graduated to the next thing ahead of me. And so when I got to each year, I had the same teacher who knew me and was able to push me a little bit and show me some interesting techniques and just kind of foster that creativity. And I did summer camps were really where I found a lot of growth, because I didn't do like normal summer camps. My dad really pushed for me to go into maker camps.
Oh, wow.
So I went into a camp in elementary school called Make It, and you learn to write and G-code, learn to make a CAD file, run a CNC, and then run a mill. And then at the end, you make like a nameplate engraved out of a brass. And then
That sounds really rad.
I want to do that.
Yeah, and we had to wire up our own LEDs and series and run them to a switch where we could run them in parallel versus series, and it was just a cool thing. And it, they teach you to run a mill. They teach you to like literally take these raw materials and turn them into a product.
That's great.
And my dad really wanted me to learn that, and I fought him. I was like, I don't want to do that. And I read the thing, and you make a nameplate at the end of the 3 weeks, and I'm like, that just sounds boring. Like, I don't want to. And I'm forever grateful for that, because that was like another one of those moments where it's like, oh, everything is related. Like, if you can think out of the box on this piece, you can make this piece. And if you think out of the box on how to incorporate that with this, you can stack your projects. And
that's awesome.
It was just one of those things that really, really spun my head into like anything is possible.
For sure.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
And I mean, your dad obviously brought you there, or I wouldn't say obviously, but he brought you there because he thought you would grab a lot of value out of that. And I'm sure there were kids there that were maybe there because parents didn't know what to do with them, so they just get them up, right? And those are the kids that you want to put on like Moa hayfield camp, like stack hay in the loft camp,
Yeah, I did that too. I worked on a farm for 3 years.
I was joking, but I kind of believe it. So.
Yeah, I worked on a hay farm for 3 years. We stacked hay.
Right on.
My mom and dad wanted me to work, and they didn't really want me to do the like McDonald's drive-through, and I was a little young for that. Like, they were only hiring at 16.
Yeah.
The farm was like, hey, if he's got hands and he can throw hay, send them to us.
But there's also a work ethic. You were being instilled a work ethic and ownership, and even like, I mean, I started that off as a joke, but then I'm like, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's one of those. There's nothing beneath me. Yeah. I will fly out to Vegas, and not only will I work on that car all day, I'll be over there later with the broom, because it's about caring about the space where you're in. It's about being house ready. It's about, I mean, all of this, right? Pride in your work, like your dad with his deck and making the car safe for your mom. And I've never seen anything been like, like you said, beneath me. Like, I never felt anything was beneath me in any job I've ever had and any role I've ever had. It's like, I want to learn everything from the bottom. Like, I want to know how that works. I want to know how that works. I want to know who is in that position doing that. If they're not there that day, if my job is complete that day and I have time to kill, I will help them with their job. Like, it's everything's centrifugal. That sounds like when you were saying that made me think of like Brittany, because Brittany, like, she's working in this carbon fiber, and she'll get done with something and she'll be like, next, they're like, slow down. She's like, next, I'm ready. She's gonna throw a comment in soon, I'm sure, about that. But so, like, when John had like the Superman and the Bruce Willis, do you have a Superman? Do you have anybody that comes to mind in terms of who was that? Dun dun dun. Is that your dad? Is your dad dun 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 Superman?
I think my dad, even to this day, always surprises me. He's definitely a Superman. He's the Bruce Willis. He kind of encompasses all of it. Okay. I'm fortunate to have him in my life. I'm fortunate to have him kind of be the North Star, so to speak, of what it takes to be a man.
Sure.
I think if we go into like the celebrity realm in that world, I'll say that when I was a kid, I watched Overhauling for the first time, and seeing Chip Foose pen and ink paper make a car come to realization in front of him. That was the first time my mind connected art and cars, and that they could be used the same way.
I think anybody in our industry would say that he's a real good role model for our industry, because he always kept it like his TV show. He never acted like a chump. He never got in trouble. He was never cantankerous at an event. He was a real good steward for our craft. He wasn't, because we've all met meatheads.
Yes.
And he's not a meathead.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to meet him in 2014.
Okay.
The year that he did the Imposter for the Riddler show.
Yep.
So a couple months before the show, I went to a conference in DC that he was going to have a booth at. It's for his wheel line release. He was right when he made the wheel that had the white wall permanently made on the wheel. So I went to that release. There was a blizzard coming through DC that week, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going the day before. I'm staying in my car. Like, I'm not missing meeting Chip Foose. There's no way. So I get there, and I get to the event space, and it's open, but there's nothing in there. They have all the displays are up, but no one's there because the snow is keeping everyone from showing up. So there's an empty table at the end. I go down, I sit at the table, and I'm just on my phone. I'm kind of relaxing, and here comes Chip Foose with a bag under his arm, and he comes over to the table I'm sitting at, and I'm like, okay, he's coming to the table, don't make eye contact, like, look down, like, and he just says, hey, I think this is my booth. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'll move. He's like, no, I don't think there's going to be a show, you can just kind of hang out if you want. I'm like, all right, cool. And then he just sits with me and just starts asking me questions about my world. What am I working on? What am I doing? Like, what am I up to? Like, what do I
no cameras, that's what I mean. Like, that's cool.
It's just incredible to see. And then we start talking about drawing and doing different things, and then he asks me what I'm drawing with, and I was like, well, I use Bic pen, and I have these Prismacolor markers. Yeah, I love Bic pens. And he's like, I bet you're frustrated with your pen lines streaking. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, hang on. And he opens his bag and hands me these markers.
ADs, chart pack, 80 marker. Yeah.
Yep. So he hands me a stack of these, and he says, you need to use these. The Prisma will smear every time. These will.
I've got my chart packs are right over there on my drawing stage.
I got all mine right here.
I'm gonna have to get some now.
So he hands me a handful of them, and he's like, draw with me. And he puts out his notepad, and we just start sketching different stuff.
Man.
And he's showing me how the markers won't bleed this way. And then he shows me blending techniques and how to go from like yellow to red, and how to rewash the colors so that the streaks go away. And here it is. I'm sitting with him for about 40 minutes because the show's not starting. And he's just drawing with me, showing me all these things. And then the wheel company reps start coming in and say, oh, we're going to get the show started. So he has to get ready. And I go to hand him all his markers back. He's like, no, just keep them.
Very generous.
Yeah, it was just incredible. And that was like, again, that was one of those things like, okay, this is a real thing. This, like, I now understand, because I was getting frustrated at the time. I was like, I can't draw like this because everything's smearing, and I just couldn't get past this hurdle. And here he just had like the secret recipe. Here, this is all you need. And
wow,
huge explosion in my brain. I was just like, okay, now I understand that part. Let's keep moving.
It was funny, before you even had him up to the camera, just by grabbing it and I saw the cap, I'm like, I already know what it is.
Yep, that's it.
There. Yeah. My daughter's 11. I'm like, stay away from them. Don't touch them.
Yeah, those are the ones you can't touch.
These are not Crayolas. Does he use marker paper or vellum?
So he had marker paper. He had Bind Fang.
Yep. Yeah.
Which
'Cause it'll blend differently.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really
yeah.
does. Yeah, I've got my bind fan back there.
That's awesome.
Which I have a friend who's been a huge inspiration to me as well. His name is Chris Dunlop, and he's an automotive artist. And I met him a couple of times in person. We've hung out a couple of times, and I send him pictures of what I'm doing, and he always gives me critiques of like, I can see your brush stroke is here. You're holding the pen too high. Let it drift. Like, those really technical things that are just so natural to him.
Yeah, he's a cosmic talent. His stuff is just off the chain. Really,
yeah, he's incredible. And he, after a while of using the bind fang paper, he was kind of like, he saw it one day when I did a time lapse drawing something and I sent it to him. He's like, I figured out one of your issues. I was like, what's that? He's like, your paper's backwards. He said bind fang is pressed into it reverse, so that you have to flip the paper over, and that's the side you're supposed to draw on because it's the side that's coded for the markers.
What?
I said, why do they do that? And he said that they do it backwards so that you fold it over itself and you draw on the back. And I said, I've never known that. And he showed it to me. He drew across, flipped it over, drew on the back, and he held it up to the light. And it was night and day difference. The other one was bleeding through because it wasn't coated. The other side was coated and it was nice crisp lines, no bleeding out. And I'm just like, oh my God, all these years.
Yeah, you're telling me no one ever explained that to me. That's how I didn't do Photoshop in school. It was all markers and wash and pencil. You ever try on Canson paper? Do you ever render on Canson, colored Canson paper?
Yeah, I've got a few Canson boards back there that I have that I'd render on. I like marker paper, but I like the feel of like a Bristol, like a vellum Bristol with no texture on it. Like, I don't know why, but I just like the feel of it and the weight of it. Yeah. Markers tend to flow a little too much, so you have to be real quick with them. But the Canson stuff is really incredible. The range of their paper is really incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Chip, I share probably some similar things because he was my guy too, and I won't focus on me, but I think
we talked about it when we interviewed you for your Legends, that Chip came up, and everybody's got one of those.
He was with Boyd when I met him, like 3-4. I didn't really get to talk to him, but I saw him there drawing, and he was designing for Boyd, and I met Boyd for the first time. We shot. I was working for Franklin Mint. We photographed the Eldorad.
Oh yeah.
But the first real thing where he saw my name for the first time is the director at Franklin Mint asked me to render the Eldorad. Yeah. And we're going to make posters that I got to sign because it was my drawing, and we'd give them like models or something, and we numbered them. And I didn't go to the show, but he was there with Chip, my boss. He goes, "Did I draw that? I don't remember drawing that." He goes, "No, John did this." He goes, "Wow, he's pretty good." And so I finally ended up getting to meet him down the road one day, and just like you say, he's the same guy, and you can meet him at SEMA like 2 years later. "Hey, John," I'm like, "How do you do this?" Like, I'm nobody. Yeah. How do you remember everybody?
Yeah, that was one of the things that amazed me. Is fast forward 2 months later, I'm at Detroit Autorama where he's premiering the Imposter. The shop that I was working with, we did a 55 Cadillac, huge car, channeled, slammed, air ride, like Art Morrison, like everything. I'm laying under it, buffing the belly pan because it's on stilts. It's it's Autorama, and
mirrors everywhere.
Yep, mirrors everywhere, and I hear, "Hey, Dan." And I'm like, nice. Slide out from the car, and I look over, and I'm like, well, that's Chip, so it couldn't be him. Who's? And then he's like, "Oh, it's Chip." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And he just remembered me, came over and said hi, and he actually invited me out to his shop. And a few months later, I went to his shop in Huntington Beach and did a tour out there, and then he hooked up a tour for me over at West Coast Customs. They're right down the road in Burbank. He knows those guys well, so he did like a little hot rod tour and California
It
for
was
me.
very generous of him,
Yeah.
That's
right?
great.
Yeah, it was incredible, and that's the standard of representation that I want to be for creatives.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So like, as you talk about this and we talk about legends, and I'll say that at the close because I have the closing thing,
Yeah.
right? So I'll hold off on it. But
Yeah.
those are the moments that really matter, and those are the things that you can say, I know what I want to be, and I know what I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Like even Chris Dunlop, he's got what, 1 million followers now on
Yeah.
IG. It's like bonkers. But he'll still fire me off a flare once in a while, or vice versa. It's not a big deal, but it's about everybody still is everybody.
Yeah.
And that's really rewarding. And also realizing that just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean you're all of a sudden this thing. You have 1 million followers on a social channel. Yeah, it's rad, but you can still be a douchebag.
Yes.
And no one's going to care about how many followers you have. Yay, you. But when you have somebody like Chip who's already winning, well, you want them to keep winning.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, again, that's kind of this, I said it before, but it's the standard of representation that I would want to be in that kind of environment. If I'm representing any type of creative or group, or if someone saw me as, someone to look up to in that field, like that's the level I want to be.
Yeah, like when you're walking around wearing an IAIM t-shirt, people were like, what's that? And you'll be like, well, let me tell you all about it.
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah.
No, that's
But
awesome.
Yeah, it's really
that was big. I was just saying, yeah, that was a big turning point for me. It was just like, you always hear "don't meet your heroes," like everyone always says that, and I'll knock on wood that just about everyone I've ever looked up to that I've met, it has been a rewarding experience. I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't great. They're not genuine. I can usually see through that in their representation. So I know that's not the type of person that I want to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, even whether they're an artist or not, whether they're in our industry or not, you can all of a sudden meet somebody and you can be like, man, they're just all shades of ugly. And then because I've seen people like that, and at first you're like, man, I'm really frustrated, but then later, after I've had a moment to like drop a little bit of discernment over it, I feel bad for the person because they're shrink wrapped in that angry body.
Yeah.
Maybe they got turned off because they have all these entourage trolls around that just want stuff from them all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then you get somebody like John or Daniel, Mr. Nice Guys, and they're like, get away from me. You ruined it, man.
I think Chip's one of those. I think we're kind of like that. I mean, what helps, I think, is being an extrovert. My dad was like that. So, my dad was another hero too. But I think that I try to teach that to my daughter, like, try to be outgoing and try to meet people, and don't write somebody off, give them a chance. And we always talk about this, 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen more than you talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick way to find out if somebody's legit or they're full of what.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's the best
give
way.
people a chance, and you'll learn and meet people, and you find out. You make a new friend. You learn new things.
That's for sure.
Be open.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, and it's something that my mom always told us growing up, is that every single person you meet is fighting some kind of battle you don't know.
Yeah.
So treat everyone with respect.
That's right. That's right. When we were interviewing Dan Wilson, he's not here right now with us, but one of his heroes, his legends, was his mom and his aunt.
Yeah, that's right.
And he went, and we let him go off on a little tear on that, and that's really rad, because you just never know who's going to create that ripple effect in you. You could have said, for all intents and purposes, yeah, there was this guy that ran the hardware store down on 5th Street, and I would go in there just because I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be an artist, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's really exciting about that, is we never know who's listening to us. They never know who's listening to them, kind of a thing, and how you carry yourself really matters. I always think that like teachers, instructors, like I had an industrial arts, a drafting teacher when I was in high school, because I was headed off to be a civil engineer. And he was one of those, like a guy's guy, not a guy's guy in terms of, hey, hold my beer and watch this, not like that, but like he would call you out if you were jerking around, and he would be the guy that would say, go stand in the corner,
Yeah.
ridiculous teenager. But he used better words than that. Anyway, but what I dug about him was he was showing up, and underneath that blue jeans skin of his, he had a real servant heart. There was a reason why he was there. There was a reason why he wanted to put up with us. He called us he would always call us turkey asses. Come on, you turkey. That was his but there was something that made him show up every day. And I'm talking about him still. 800 years later. I graduated high school the year you were born. I graduated in '88, but I'm still thinking about George Price. That's my. If I ever get a Legends interview, I'm going to talk about George Price. But anyway, this is mine.
We can make that happen.
We should make that happen.
Yeah, you guys know a guy or two.
Yeah, I think you made a good point when you said like they either show you who you want to be or who you don't want to be.
That's right.
And I had one of each when I was in college. So I actually got a full ride to Delaware College of Art and Design.
Right on.
And I only stayed there for one semester.
Oh.
I left and went to Delaware Technical Community College because the director of their art program was just such a cool dude. When I went to Delaware College of Art and Design, it just, everything about every teacher, everything about the vibe just felt forced and fake.
Stuffy.
Yeah, and I remember we would do these live drawings where we had a still life, or we had a model. We had something in the middle of the room and easels all the way around the room. And we all had charcoal, and we all had to speed draw what we saw in the middle. And the instructor was one of those, and I don't mean to throw this as a blanket statement, one of those artists that loved to tell people that he is an artist. Just live
let me shove this big pen down my throat until I get it.
Yeah, just loved Andy Warhol, embodied his essence, like that kind of vibe. And he walked around the room, and I'm listening to him tell everyone, I love what you're doing here. I just feel like I'm over there. And then he would do it to the next person. He said the same thing for half the room. So I raised my hand, and I was thinking, could fix all this if we all just shift our easels 3 feet that way. I think I got it. He was so mad. He kicked me out of the class, and
didn't even laugh. He didn't, because he was so full.
Yeah, everyone laughed. He hated it. He thought I was, undermining the essence of the art in the room, and I got such a weird feeling from that I was like, if you. Like in my brain at the time, I'm like, how can he take that seriously?
I think what happened to him, just guessing, is I think that he suffered like a really, really large rejection in his career. And in that space with students, he felt like he was the biggest thing in the room. And he fed off of that. Just like John's dog is showing up, that dog's like, I'm the biggest in the room.
Turkey ass. Both of them.
I think that's absolutely true, because like I went from that, and I just like my whole high school going up to it, like I'm going to art school, I'm doing the art thing, like this is it. And I got there, and I was so unpleasant. Like I felt like a square peg in a round hole. Like how can this not be my thing? Like I don't understand it. And like I just couldn't reach the level of trying to be nice. Like self-centeredness that you needed to be an artist. Like I couldn't reach that. And so my mom took me to Delaware it was Delaware Technical Community College, because she read that they had a huge art program. And I met the director of the president of the program named Ron Pleasanton, and I'm like in his office looking around the room, and he's got wood carvings that he's done with chainsaws. He's got watercolor that he did in Paris. Like he's got like all these things all around his office, and I'm just like, oh wow, this is different. And then the first thing he told me is, if you come to this school, there's one rule. You never lose your sense of play.
Ah, it's awesome.
And I'm like, again, this moment of just world-shattering advice. And he's like, the minute you lose your sense of play, you grow up and you stop finding fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And that's been something I've lived my life by since I've heard it. Is
Well, you just shared it with us, so you like just passed the baton off halfway around the track.
yeah,
Right.
it's just one of those things. Like when you say it out loud and you start breaking it down and thinking about it, it's like going into a conversation, being a student, being a child mind, like it opens your soul to learn anything and everything.
I've been so busy doing, let's say, generating content for today's thing, making lives and creating visuals and stuff. But I'm also working on a rendering over at my drawing station, right? And when it's a short story short, it felt so good to be driving that pencil on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, I forgot how much I love this. But I'm grateful that I can come back to it, right? So, and I was sharing that with John in an earlier conversation. They told me this is my 10th commission I've done for them. I'll take their word for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember it's kind of like I'm also a sign writer. So just the sense of the feeling of drag of the brush on the palette, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And so like your sense of play, sometimes you want something as basic as I just want a shovel and I just want to go dig a hole because I just need to do something very rudimentary. I need to get dirt under my nails. I need to do something. So for me, it's not that drawing this this Mercedes was digging a hole, but it definitely brought me back to, oh my gosh, this is so great.
Yeah.
Be really present right here.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, any kind of thing you can latch onto that's going to center you again and again humble you again, like redirect your focus for a little bit. It's like, wow, that's
so once you changed to the new school, were there any instructors there that something that really stood out for you from somebody that like you still carry forward today?
Yeah, so Ron Pleasanton, he
was so pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, just everything he did was just like fantastic. I mean, well done. My one teacher, Patty Bishop, she was an incredible fine artist. Did a lot of watercolors. Like I did watercolors in elementary school and finger paints, and then that's where they ended for me. I watched her do a bouquet of flowers in watercolor, and it just blew my mind. That it was one of those things where I realized that every medium has a place if you have the skill and the patience to make it come out. And she said that something that really stuck with me too is that everyone has in their head an image of what they want, and it's at 100%. She said the really good artist can get it on paper to about 50%. She said the really amazing artist can usually get it to around 70. She said there's very few artists like your Van Goghs and like that can get it to maybe 90. And you abandon it after that. And that kind of scale, she told me, just really just stuck with me. Like it's one of those sayings that like just live in my head rent free all the time, because I never antiquated it like that before and put number values to it. But it's like, everyone sees in their head exactly what they want. Creatives can articulate it and bring it out.
Yeah, getting it, in your head and down your arm and out onto whatever it is, your delivery device, right?
Yeah.
What sucks is when you have all that time in there, and then when you look at it, you're like, I like the sketch better.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, but everybody feels that. Everybody feels it. Feel it.
Yeah.
I was at that point when she was telling me these things when I realized that not everyone can do that. Not everyone can see in their head exactly what they want and then work on bringing it out. Like some people just don't have that ability to visualize.
Okay, so let me ask, right, you got your talk, Dan's writing no doubt, John's shaking his head, yeah. I've had people that are not. They say everybody's a creative, except unfortunately it gets smudged out of you by usually like third grade, right? Because there's that whole thing that art is not important. It's incredibly important. It saves lives. It saved my life. But anyway, back to visualization. I can sit there, and you guys can too, like literally, I don't know if it's like from Battlestar Galactica or Star Trek, or just pick your favorite space thing, but literally like screens, and you can like slide things. Like you just that, like just you can be like moving things. I can tell you right now, put me in a clown suit and you can look at me on camera. I'm like, okay, what color are the buttons? Like you can really do that. You can really see it. You can really make it happen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like Minority Report. You're just
There you go. There you go. Minority Report. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're like sliding, grabbing, twisting, moving out of the way, but we all are able to, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like Earth without art is I like that.
Yeah. It's funny, you know, having somebody that gets it, like a manager, this new manager I've had now for almost a year. He's been kind of great. It's kind of goes along with what you're saying. He's an engineer, but you know, he was part of the product development. And I had this CAD of this pool robot that I'm working on. I was halfway through, and I had the main body shape. But for about 10 minutes, I'm just rotating it and I'm thinking and just sitting there rotating. And somebody came by, what are you doing? You're not even doing anything. And then he was watching, and he goes, no, he is doing something. It's just he's looking at the lines and the proportions and the shapes, and he's trying to figure out where this next thing goes. Am I right? I'm like, yeah. I said, because I've got 4 things that I got to come together in this one area, and I'm trying to visualize. So there's this rotating, and then in my head, there's lines doing this, and I need to see it, because if I just start doing it, then I'm going to waste a bunch of time. It's almost kind of like brain sketching. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah,
I
I like that. Yeah. So whenever I make something, like I made my dining room table. That's a big farm table. It's a 4x8. I must have built that in my head at least a dozen times before I even started sketching out what it was going to look like. Like I built it in my head. I visualized sitting at the table. I visualized like reaching across the table and grabbing the potatoes. Like I thought about, and then I was like, oh, I bumped my knee on the table because I've got long legs. Like I got to make sure I make it high. Like everything went through my head like a movie, and it just played over and over. And I thought of every variable I could possibly think of before I put ink to paper and actually started sketching out what it was going to live like in the space. And I try to do that with every project. I don't know what that phase is called. I don't know. I've heard people reference like brain mapping and things like these, but I don't know. A mind sketch is kind of like you kind of hit on the head. I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it's like it's also like a meditation. It's meditative too.
Yeah.
Right. Even though I don't know how to do that, but Dan just threw in a big one. Active visualization requires thorough planning. That planning involves staring at the object or problem in question and solving it in your head. All the alternatives. 100% mapping.
Oh, man.
Da Vinci did it endlessly. So, Dan, when Mr. Zimmerman, when we do your legends, you're going to have to talk about this Da Vinci endlessly thing.
I'm screenshot.
I like it.
I'm stealing that, Dan.
You should. Screenshot it. Screenshot it right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like I think we all do as creatives, but not many times do you put a word to it. You know, it's like it just feels like a natural process, and to be able to put a word or a pin in it and say, okay, I'm going to start with that first. You know, it's a really powerful process.
Yeah, and you know, you go to sketching, but I guess when it first starts out, sometimes there's too many ideas, and I have to you kind of have to like weed it out. I'm kind of weeding it out, and then when I get it to a feel like I think I got it, then I go to paper and just start. You know, and it's one of the things I talked to about with the designers. Like, it's to get rough ideas down. It's not an art contest. Just get it down quick.
That's a hard thing that I had to learn was. I want it to be perfect the first time. Like I really wanted it to be perfect the first time, and I would just shred it out, start again. It's just
well, in design, and I don't know about you guys, but like, you know, you were saying earlier, you know, not many people can get it to 50%, some get it to 70, some can get it to 90. But I can say that usually, as a rule of thumb, usually my first idea is my best idea. Like, I've worked with partners on projects, and we'll get out to like several revisions out, and then they'll wheel back to, oh, I like the first one. And I'm like, I told you.
Yeah.
Because then it starts feeling forced, because as a creative, our job is to interpret their idea. You know, they're using us as their beacon, but we're still going to use our own impressions to deliver our interpretation of what it is they're trying to say. And we know when we're feeling it, and when we know when we're not.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. We're a conduit, but we still have opinions. And if you're not feeling the design, the energy's off, and just because it's their idea doesn't mean you're going to feel it, you know? So you're trying to fake it in a way to just make it work for them. And I've stopped doing logo designs because of the revisions. The revisions.
Well, they can go on to Fiverr and get them for $3.44 right now.
And that's what I tell them. I was like, look, start there. Have one of these guys do it the way you want for $5. You know,
which is a shame. I'm being a little sarcastic. It's a shame because you get such a victim feeding frenzy where the artist turns into the mutt.
Yeah, and the people that are signing up for Fiverr as a creator are usually not creatives. They're usually some type of person that has some creative knowledge, but they're not a creative by means. They're usually using AI. They're usually using some form of generative process to just shell out ideas. And I'm like, okay, so pay them the $5 to do all these digital sketches, and then I'll fix it. You know, I'll make it human. I'll add the feeling, and I'll match it to the brand.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not worth it for me to sit there and do, you know, revision 32.5. I've stopped labeling my files done or finished. Every time I make it finished or last one, it's always more.
Yeah, visual 11A-6.
Yeah. I always like logo.
You've already gone to 10Z.
Yeah. No, it's smart that you said that. That actually happened. My daughter's fiance wants to do like a trash removal. He's got a big trailer, and he did that. And he showed, check out my little logo, and it was like a trash bin with the wheels, like with a face. And I'm like, hey, give me that. I did like, I think 3 sketch overs and tightened up the third one and showed him. He goes, oh my God, now I know why. I know why you do what you do. And I'm like, I just gotta make better art. Yeah.
The cross for us to bear is looking at that and trying not to say anything.
Yeah, and then somebody would say to you, you know, so like, what is it that you do? And I said, well, you know, give an example, like a monkey with a football. You know, you can ask a bunch of people, I want a monkey with a football, but I'm going to draw the monkey with the football that you want.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can draw it, but a creative worth their salt is going to make the one that says, I got to have that. That's our job. Our job is to make people say, I got to have that.
Yeah.
That's the job.
Yeah. And I always see it as like people in our shoes, creatives, ad designers, you know, these guys, we put soul of the brand into the logo.
Yeah.
You know, that is the imaging that we're trying to convey. And anyone can jump on AI, anyone can jump on one of these Fivers and get, you know, 30 logos in 10 minutes. But how many of those logos have the soul of the brand in it? Like that's, we are trusted to weave that soul into that branding.
And to interview your partner / client in the process, because you really, because they're the one that's got their heart really invested in it, and they're bringing you to the table. So there's that whole respect thing. That's a whole other view of mine. But yeah, you really need to know their things, because you're going to probably translate some of that into your design in some way, shape, or form, be it a color, a line, a visual, an image, a metaphor, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So you're gonna pull in your ending, Scott. How
Oh, you want me pulling? You want me pulling the
weave
ending?
this all together.
You think we're really here? Okay. All right, I can do that. Dan doesn't want this to be over. I don't want it to be over.
Unless you got another hero or a legend you can bring into the mix.
Oh man, I think the biggest hero or legend to any creative is just curiosity.
Yeah.
Just wanting to know more, wanting to do more, wanting to expand, wanting to try things.
Yeah.
I think as long as you keep that mentality, you know, that childlike, never to lose that sense of play, like that'll serve you so well, because
Absolutely.
you just keep growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great one.
I think that I like to think of being a creative as well, and like you said, keep growing, but it's also about being paid to practice. And one of the biggest fears that any creative, or I guess I'll only speak to myself, is one of those, I don't ever want to plateau.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at something one day and say, oh my gosh, I was better then than I am right now.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be pretty scary. I haven't said that yet. All I know is I know when I'm doing my best and I know when I'm not. So, and that's a disservice to the craft. So like we get really fiercely protective over, because we know what we're qualified to do, and we can fake somebody, but we can't fake our own soul. Right. Yeah. So integrity really, really matters a lot. I mean, you know, I got this whole story about sweeping a floor. My grandfather used that as a story, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe I share that with you, Dan, in your part 2, but you got the dustpan out, you got the broom, do the whole floor. Don't miss a corner. Why would you miss a corner? You got everything out. And he wasn't talking about a floor.
Yeah.
He was talking about when you show up, you show up.
Yeah.
Don't miss anything. Show up, because somebody else wants the opportunity to sweep that. Maybe somebody else wants that floor more than you do.
Yeah.
Never forget that, right? So, all right. So here's the question. This is how we close it out. You talked about these people that really were hallmark moments in your life, right? And may we always be finding more, ever curious, like you say. So in your own words, what do you think, or who can you be moving forward, or what are you doing right now, where one day somebody is saying, Daniel Maffett was my XYZ, and here's why. So what is it about you, or what is it that you would like to do to make sure somebody's dropping your name one day, and that to be a legend to somebody else?
That's a good question. I don't think
it's supposed to be good.
Yeah, it's very good. Well done, sir. You held it well. I don't think that's fathomable for me.
Okay.
I think if I went into situations thinking I'm going to change this person's life, or I'm going to do something like this, I think I would mess it up, because it wouldn't be genuine. I hope that being open, being present, and being maybe a guiding hand, a guiding advice, guiding thoughts, you know, just being authentic and being approachable, I can influence someone in a good, positive way.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about. You know, it's not about walking into a place being staged so you're memorable, because that's the people that we don't care about, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's about, how do you find yourself wanting to show up, so that way you've made a difference and you've left a positive imprint after you're gone, right?
Yeah, I one of my clients and friends is DJ Jazzy Jeff, and we do a lot of work together, and he is an absolute advocate for giving back, and his thing he says all day every day is die empty.
Yeah, I've used that since you said that in the last one.
Yeah,
maybe one day we can have him in here and we'll interview him.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. But die empty is just such a strong and polarizing statement, because it's like, I don't want to die at all, but wait, die empty. So don't.
Yeah, we were talking about, you know, gatekeepers and all of that. Being a gatekeeper, it's about, there's nothing wrong with being a gatekeeper if you're using that to be a steward to the craft that you care so much about.
Yes.
You get what I'm trying to say, because you want to make sure the people that come into the fold are the people that you want to hand the torch to, per se. I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just being able to just be present and be valuable and be of service to the craft and who's going to come after you. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Dan Roth wrote in here, humble generosity. Same thing other people gave to us. Yeah, because if it works for you, it's going to be a delivery device for somebody else.
Yeah, and everyone that's inspired me owed me nothing.
Yeah.
They
That's actually a really good line if you think about it. That says a lot, just that one line. Everybody that helped me owed me nothing.
See, we're all going to leave here smarter.
That's amazing. Because it's true. I'm thinking about every person, and I'm thinking, no, they didn't have to help me at all.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask.
That's right.
Not necessarily, right? I mean.
Yeah, and at the time, you might not even knew that they were helping you in any way.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Something that anchored you in some way or made a light. I think the light bulb might not even clicked at that moment. It could have been a year or 2 years. Like, I know when he told me never lose your sense of play, I was like, that's a cool statement. And that was it.
Yeah, there's a big difference between hearing words and feeling words.
Yeah.
Like, you can memorize crap all day long, but until you've like really soaked it in, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's awesome.
Well, I got to tell you, man, this was really spectacular. And I mean, you gave an incredible part one, a part two. You just did a Legends. I mean, you just like ran it right down the field. And I'm not joking when I say, it'd be really cool to because this community isn't just for illustrators, it's for all things creative, period, and I think that's what makes it really exciting, what we're building here. And the other thing that I always go back to is it's so obvious that there's just a lot of servant hearts in here. And I really, and I can only speak to what I feel, that it's more than I thought it was going to be. And as the community grows, that aspect's only going to get bigger, because when people come into a space like this and they're like, wait a minute, no one's going like behind my back. Everybody really wants me to win. People want to. John and I were having a meeting or a phone call earlier, and he was talking about a particular project. And I'm like, I know a guy. Let me at least make a warm introduction. Come to find out, we both knew some of the same people, but it's just the willingness to do it.
Yeah.
Next week we are having our 11th Show Up Throwdown. I'm looking at my other monitor, and Show Up Throwdowns are not recorded, so there's no whatever. It's about Show Up Throwdown.
Yeah.
And the talk topic is future tripping. You guys know what future tripping is?
I don't think I do.
All right, you want me to tell you? Future tripping is, maybe this could happen, maybe that could happen, running down rabbit holes, getting worried. Sometimes we perseverate on things we shouldn't because we have an expectation we put on ourselves. But it's about how do you maintain. Future tripping was actually a term that my brother, my oldest, next brother up, gave to me. And I'm like, what is that? But he uses it a lot. And I'm like, I really like it. So, yeah. So if you guys make it, anybody here in the comments that make it next week, always same time. And that's the talk topic. So like, it really is just that. The last one we had was on imposter syndrome. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're really cool. And we're coming up on the 1-year birthday of IAIAM. And I would like to talk with all of you guys in terms of what it would look like to try to do a live, like on another channel. So that, like, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, Daniel, I'd love to talk to you about that, because if you have any insight, I would like to somehow show people on the outside what we're doing on the inside. It's just a show, right?
Yeah.
I want people to see what it looks like when other people really want you to win, because that's what we want. Yeah. So that's my pitch. Sound good?
I like it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, guys.
I just want to add one more thing. The reason I love these legends, and I didn't figure this out until after we did a couple. I kind of understood what we would get out of it. The similar thing, but I'm finding that I get more out of it than I expected.
Yeah.
And one, I mean, we get to learn about how each of us ticks, how we tick, what makes us, how we are, what we do, you know, what we've learned. And I think what really gets me going is that even people are putting, creatives are putting stuff in the comments. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, so I'm learning, and there's wisdom and inspiration that I'm getting out of it that I didn't expect. So it's kind of an unexpected, I don't know, bonus or a great thing that I'm getting out of this I didn't expect, and I love it.
I think I agree, and you know, Daniel, you tell us what you think, but like at least for me, when we're doing these, it gives us a sense of like knowing each other, all of us, on a more family level. And there's no like button, there's no impression count, there's no, we're just showing up, and there's something really really refreshing about that. I mean, that was one of the things that I felt as a cram a year and a half ago, when I'm like, there's nothing out here, I guess I'm gonna do it, so I'm gonna make this thing. And if 3 people show up, okay, well, it needs to be more than 3, but it's one of those things that it's refreshing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I've ranted.
I'm the king of rant, so it's fine.
Yeah. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much. Andy Wilson, he's going to be, you know, we're trying to connect with him. He's another illustrator. People in the comments, he hasn't even had a part 1 yet. I look forward to his time. And I'm so grateful for everybody that showed up, and we're all showing up for each other. We're not just showing up for ourselves, we're showing up for each other. There's always something to learn in here, and I think it's just rad. Yeah, Dan couldn't have said it any better. Peace, love, and crayons. So that wraps up Legends number 4. Thank you so much, Daniel, for showing up and giving it to us real. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
I enjoyed it, Daniel. Appreciate it.
Me too.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, guys. Everybody have a great night.
You
See
too.
ya. Hey there. I am Scott. I am the CCO, the Chief Creative Officer and founder of IAIM. IA stands for Independent Artist. Every single week we go live inside of our community, and what you're watching right here is a recording of one of those lives. If you'd ever like to be a part of one of these and sit in and be a part of the comments or be interviewed, and you're an IA, well, the link is right here in the description. Maybe we'll see you inside.